file to order. For the record, I am Chairman Luke Ahmet. Commissioner Steve Bradshaw is excused and Commissioner Asia Williams is present. This is a continuation of file CUP 0022-23, which was a conditional use permit for a communication tower that was called to order on April 18th. But I believe I will now turn it over. I'm going to turn it over to you, Director.
And Bill, feel free to weigh in anytime on this. So there's been a request by the appellant's attorney to continue this to another date and time certain. The data that was requested at the last hearing, the drive data to prove necessity of the cell tower, it was sent to the applicants and the board last Tuesday, I believe, middle of the day. Norm wanted additional time to review and rebut that information. There was some discussion on whether or not a public notice is required for a continued hearing. Bill and I both agree that because this was noticed properly at the first or the beginning of this hearing and to a date and time certain to the date of today at this time, that additional noticing in the paper is not required, only an agenda for the meeting. Bill, any other input on that?
No, only that I think that counsel for the applicants also agreed to the continuance, and so there was agreement amongst those guys on that issue.
So Norm, when were you wanting it to be continued to?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, we were deferring to staff on available dates, and I believe the available date that was identified potentially, they'll have to speak to that, that the two attorneys for the parties agreed to was August 2nd.
So the board has a pretty limited schedule because you start budget workshops, is it next week, I believe? So I gave them potential dates, given your schedule of July 19th, August 2nd, and August 8th. So that would be either this Friday the 2nd, or 8th being the following Thursday. And that's what the 2nd worked out best for all of the relevant parties.
What time?
It's up to you guys to determine the time. I don't think there's anything on your schedule for that day, so it could be the morning or afternoon.
Norm, is there a time specific that works best?
You tell us when to be there and we'll be there.
I move that the board continue this hearing to August 2nd, 2024 at 1:30 p.m.
I'm willing to do 9, and I'm also willing to have the hearing today, so I would motion to amend to 9 a.m. Is there a second to the amendment, or?
Well, I'm trying to be considerate of the people that want to participate, and these hearings are at 1:30. So I don't know when, I know this is an important one for the community, and it's typically 1:30. That's why I selected that time. So I would like to be considerate of community participating if I could get you to agree to just
Well, we can
changing
do
it.
9 a.m. or we can do right now. So there's my response.
So there's two of us, and
That's
so
correct.
so the approach that you're attempting to use will get you through this hearing, but it won't move this file forward because it's going to be 1-to-1. So we can
Asia,
be
can I
considerate.
chime in on that for a second?
You might want to. Yep.
So I have some input on this that you might find relevant. So if I think that what Luke is suggesting is that he's willing to go to 9 a.m. on that date, I think that's probably in your best interest here, because the nature of this hearing is an appeal from an approval. So if there's a 1-to-1 tie vote at a hearing today, that would mean that the motion or the appellant's appeal would fail. So I think it's based on your position at the last hearing, I think it would be in your best interest to agree with Luke, even if it's only to 9 a.m.
Thank you, but I think it's also reasonable to explain why I'm picking 1:30 for the people that want to be present, but if Luke will not change from 9, then I'll agree to the 9, but it's reasonable for me to speak up for the people that expect to come at 1:30 though. So if you're not willing to agree to 1:30, I'll agree to 9, but the reason I picked 1:30 was the typical time of these hearings to accommodate.
I'm happy
community.
to have the hearing right now.
Yeah,
So
I heard you.
I'm just responding, Ms. Williams. So would you like to put a new motion to 9 a.m. or would you like to second my amendment to 9?
I agreed to second your motion.
So there is an amendment to continue this hearing to August 2nd at 9 a.m. with a second. All in favor to the amendment? Aye.
Aye.
And then just so that we have it on the record, the main motion to continue this hearing, I will step down from the chair and second that. So there was a motion to amend. All in favor to continue? Aye.
Aye.
It is 1:36 and this hearing is continued until August 2nd at 9 a.m. And this hearing is now.
Question before you close, Mr. Chairman. Bill, do we want to have the board weigh in on whether or not a notice needs to be provided in the paper for that continued hearing, or is the continuance at this hearing sufficient notice? I just want to make sure my staff needs to follow up and do what we need to for that meeting to happen.
I am not in support of spending additional taxpayer money that is not required by law. And if there is a motion to put forth, it will fail because I will vote in opposition just to save time.
There you go. I
That's
think we
correct.
have enough time for the members of the community to spread throughout the community that if you guys want an opportunity to speak, that Commissioner Almond is not willing to put it in the notice, so do your due diligence.
Or so what I'm hearing is that there is another feckless attempt to spend taxpayer money. But I appreciate that. It
How about
is
notice in the public?
It is 1:37 and this hearing is recessed.
Yeah, you work to the